Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Tom, Tom Worth Jr. I always say that, I don't know why. I go by Tom Worth Jr. because my dad's Tom Worth, my son's Tom Worth, I'm Tom Worth. And we all went by different things at one point, Tom, Tommy, Thomas, but we all ended up eventually settling on Tom. So I'm Junior, and that's why I always say Tom Worth Jr. But today is Sunday. It's hot and sunny. I love this time of year in Arlington. I love the heat. I love the sweat. We were out eating some Mexican food last night out in Fort Worth and Sundance Square. Little place called Mi Casina. And my wife loves the margaritas there. So do the people we were out with. But today's Sunday. Went to church today, and it got me thinking about a book I read a few years back during the 2020 election cycle. It was a book by Jon Meacham called The Soul of America. And here I don't have the book. I listen to most of my books. I do have books. This is Jon Meacham. That is his gigantic biography of George H.W. Bush, which my parents got me for Christmas a couple years ago, which I haven't gotten that far into it. But this is a guy who, like him or not, served his country. From a young man in the military service, yes, he was born into privilege, but he did serve his country in World War II, as so many people did, which reminded me of this book from my shelf, which I've read much of. I haven't gotten all the way through it yet. The Wise Men by Walter Isaacson and Evan Thomas. These are about people who came of age in, say, the early 1900s at these elite East Coast prep schools, and then they would go to Yale, Harvard, wherever, and then kind of the theory back then that some people are kind of destined to lead the country, and you have to be formed in a certain way. And then this guy, we all know and love him. This is a great book, 1776, about that pivotal year. A lot of George Washington in that one. Here he is, ripe old age, or he was at the time. I think he's passed away since then. But Jon Meacham's book, The Soul of America, I pulled up the description, and it's long, it's awesome. The Soul of America, the battle for our better angels. And if you recall, during the DNC this past week, one of the speakers used that quote. I don't remember if it was Barack Obama. I don't remember who it was. So many amazing speeches. But that was a quote going back to Abraham Lincoln, our better angels. And this book is about, just read the book, listen to the book. I'm not going to go into it. The Soul of America, the battle for our better angels. People like Jon Meacham and David McCullough, who dedicate their lives to the study of history. And I do that in my spare time. I always have. That wasn't my career, unfortunately. I wish it had been. But it wasn't. I always figured I could make money doing something and then read history and archaeology and that sort of thing in my spare time, which is what I have done. But people who dedicate their lives to reading and writing and studying and analyzing what has come before, immense respect for those people, those men and women. They know what all of this means. They've seen all of this before, and they almost universally have come out against Trump, going back to the 2020 election cycle, going back to early in that 2016 to 2020 term of Trump. They came out in full force against him, all these historians. They see what people like him try to accomplish. They see how they accomplish it or how they fail to accomplish it, and that he is very much operating with a tried and true playbook of fascism. dictators, kings, whatever, but fascism. There was another book by Madeleine Albright. I think it was just called Fascism. I read that one as well back at the time. There was a series on HBO called The Plot Against America, which was based on a book written long ago about a theoretical, if Charles Lindbergh, who was actually a Nazi supporter in real life, if he had won for president and won, and all the tactics that would be employed back in 1940s America to achieve that, and what it would actually mean for the country if that would have taken place and succeeded. So these are the fears that go through my mind and people like me, our minds, because it's not. I mean, all these people, all are people like Trump and Stephen Miller. Are banking on is the fact that most Americans are not well read for the stuff that matters, history, politics. Like Americans, for the most part, not enough of them care about that sort of thing. It's the kind of thing that the founding fathers did. They studied the classics. They studied mostly Roman classics, but also whatever Greek they could get their hands on. And they studied history, and they tried to figure out what worked and what didn't. And American founding fathers tried to devise a system that could stand up to humanity's best attempts to undermine it. And they built in checks and balances. And I don't think it ever occurred to them that, sure, it occurs to them that you can have tyranny, you can have a tyrant, you can have a person who's a terrible person, but you've got this other branch of government. You've got Congress, you've got another branch, the Supreme Court. You've got these three branches of government that are all in checks and balances. So when one person is going off the rails, or one group is going off the rails, at least one, if not both, of the other legs can keep them in check and balance against them and keep them from exercising their immense power. They did not, I'm convinced they did not foresee, because this was all written before the party systems, right? Before factionalization started occurring early in the Republic. We already had the Declaration of Independence. Obviously, we already had the Constitution ratified. That's what gave us our system. So the system was operating. We've amended the Constitution as we've gone, but the system that we're in, where one guy can occupy the executive office and have people figure out what he can do to maximize his power in that office, but you've also got Republican House or houses of Congress that are fully supporting him, even though they may think it's an egregious abuse of power and they would never want any Democrat to do this, and they may despise Trump personally. He is why, if you go against him, you are going to lose your own political power. So I don't think the founders foresaw that you would have a Congress that is fully okay with a guy like Trump. They wrote impeachment into the process, so when a guy like Trump came along, everyone would say, oh, we got to get rid of this guy. The Republicans refused to do that. So there's the Supreme Court steps in, right? Well, no. They've got a 6-3 majority now. The Republicans do. And I don't think they foresaw the case where you could have a lifetime appointment of Supreme Court justices who are in the bag for a certain guy, like some of them are for Trump. This is all uncharted territory. And Trump realized this. Fortunately, he was too slow to realize it that first term, and was not able to enact what he could have enacted. And he didn't have that 6-3 majority the whole time with the Supreme Court. And he didn't officially have immunity to anything his brain could ever conceive of, either inside of office or out, like he does now. That is why it is so terrifying and so imperative that he not be given power again. And I don't think this race is going to be as close as we thought it would be. I don't think it will be as close as it was in 2020. I think Biden was. I've had a lot of comments on my first video about a lifelong Republican going against Trump. Got a lot of views, a lot of comments, and I've had fun going back and forth with some people, almost universally in support of this view, and that's a testament to the power and I guess intelligence of the YouTube algorithm, only showing this video to people who are, like I said, preaching to the choir. They're not showing it to people who are not going to agree with this, I'm pretty sure. If I would have made pro-Trump videos, it would have just been shown to all the people on the other side, and they all would have loved it too, if I would have said that kind of thing. I'm talking kind of quickly here. I've got a lot to say, but I wanted to keep this one short today. My last one ran about 20 minutes, and I just think that's too long to get this out. But what I wanted to get out is check out that book, The Soul of America by Jon Meacham. Read history by historians, lifelong historians, guys that have had enough years to read and write and think a lot about this kind of thing. Don't vote for Trump because we're all in trouble, because he's a human being. The political process is like a human being. It's always evolving. It's always saying, okay, we were thwarted by this, so now we're going to try that. That's all happening. It's been happening for 4 years now, and we've just got to make sure that he doesn't get in again. Starting to say, I don't think it's going to be as close as last time. I think Biden was not the best candidate in 2020, but I do think he was the best candidate to defeat Trump. I don't know if he would have defeated a lot of other Republicans in the same way that Trump lost to Hillary in 2016, but she may have been one of the only legitimate Democrat candidates that he could have lost to, because it's hard to think back 8 years to a time when someone could be as polarizing as Trump is. But let me tell you, from the Republican side, I don't know of anyone more polarizing than Hillary Clinton was at that time. I'm not saying it was deserved. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying strong opinions were held about her and her candidacy for president. Probably it goes back to Bill as well, some transference there, but also to some of her actions she took while in government herself. She took a lot of blame for a lot of things, some of which may have been in her power, some of which wasn't in her power. But I'm just saying, as polarizing as Trump is now, I believe that's what Hillary was then. So she may have been the only Democrat who could have lost to Trump back in 2016, unfortunately for us. But fortunately, Biden came along and kicked him out, and I think Kamala will be, I think her lead's just growing every day. It's just going to be stronger and stronger and stronger. Then we can get back to arguing about actual issues that are actually important to Americans, rather than is America itself in danger of going into the trash bin of history, which I think many of us fear that it is. So that's all for today. Short and sweet. Go read some books, and have a great rest of your weekend.